Welcome to the Empowerment Zone with Ramona Houston, where we zone in on Black and Brown relations and our journey to empowering our communities.
Thank you for joining the Empowerment Zone. I am your host, Ramona Houston. All right, as you all know, here on the Empowerment Zone, we definitely believe in the importance of health. Health is one of those things that people don't appreciate until it's gone, but we here believe in the importance of taking care of our minds, body, and spirits. Welcome to the Empowerment Zone. I am your host, Ramona Houston, and today we're going to talk about health with a physical therapist, and he's going to talk about um, all aspects of health, but also talk about health disparities. We have Dr. Herman Turner with us today. Dr. Herman Turner was born and raised in Selma, Alabama, and he earned his biomedical science degree from Auburn University. And while at Auburn, Dr. Turner was involved as College of Science and Mathematics ambassador, student assistant for the men's basketball team, member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, woof, and several other organizations. After Auburn, Dr. Turner attended physical therapy school at Alabama State University, where he earned a doctorate of physical therapy degree. At ASU, he was awarded the American Physical Therapy Association's Minority Award for academic excellence and presented a research study, stroke and cardiovascular disease in college-aged males. Today, Dr. Turner lives in Birmingham, Alabama, working as a physical therapist at a local clinic as well as established Turner Physical Therapy Consultants. Dr. Turner enjoys being around family and friends, reading, running marathons, world travel, and working with Selma's youth through the Selma Bridge Builders, Inc. nonprofit. So welcome to the Empowerment Zone, Dr. Herman Turner. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so very much for this opportunity. My first ever interview. So I'm a little nervous, but I appreciate you. I've been watching what you've been doing with your podcast. I applaud you for giving people like myself an opportunity to articulate, express their, past experiences, their occupation, and just life in general.
Well, I appreciate having you. You were one of the first people I reached out to do an interview, and it's almost a year later, and I finally got you on the show. So I'm so happy to have you. And reading your bio, man, you could talk about a lot of stuff. You could talk about fraternities, and you could talk about attending an HBCU, the whole Auburn University, growing up in Selma and what that's like. You could talk about physical therapy. You could talk about health disparities. There's so much you can talk about. So I'm glad we finally dwindled it down to a topic.
Yeah, narrow it down.
Yeah. So before we get started talking about health and health disparities and your work as a physical therapist, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself? We always like to get personal with people and connect with them on a personal level, and then we go into our professions and our passions.
Sure. My name is Dr. Herman Turner, born and raised in the historic city of Selma, Alabama. Then attended Auburn University and graduated there and went to Alabama State. I've been practicing physical therapy here in Birmingham for approximately like 14 years now at a local clinic, outpatient clinic. Just enjoy life. Just enjoy life. That's pretty much simple but basic. That's who I am.
Well, let me ask you this since you're Omega Psi Phi, I want to ask you why'd you decide to go Omega Psi Phi of all? I'm just curious.
Growing up in Selma, the influence from coaches, teachers, family members, I was always around them. They always taking time out to teach me things, to guide me, share their mistakes, failures, you know. So just that influence within itself. And when I got to Auburn, that was it. I already knew. So one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Root to the bros.
Root. So I'm being silly. So let's talk about, you're in the STEM field as a physical therapist, and there is now in our society an attempt to try to push more people of color, particularly Black men, into STEM fields. And growing up, a lot of myths go on in the community about who we can be and what we can aspire, what we can do and what we cannot do. And many times there's this myth that Black people can't do math. And I see it states that you are a mathematics ambassador. Can you talk a little bit about your love for math and, and the sciences, and kind of encourage some of our listeners out there who are interested in going into the STEM fields?
I just felt like as I grown older, you realize that you live at a level that you're exposed to, you know. And so a lot of times that me growing up in Selma, you see a lot of, teachers, and, either you're just going to a certain school. A lot of times Alabama State or Alabama A&M, but with time, I just realized that I was, my father was a physical education teacher. My mom was a social worker or what have you. So they kind of installed like education. And I remember this time where in 11th grade, we had to write a report on what we wanted to become, where we was going to school to become. I wrote something about mechanical engineer. I had no idea to this day, what is a mechanical engineer, So I just knew that I wanted to become like a basketball player, NBA player at that time. But I knew that, scholarships didn't come, so I had to focus in on a particular thing. And what happened was my grandfather, he had cancer. And so I would go visit him, and they had this physical therapist come to the house, and so I'm helping him out, got him back walking, getting his balance back and everything like that. And so that moment, I knew I was becoming a physical therapist. Now, in order, a lot of times that we have this idea of the destination, but we don't know the process. Then all of a sudden, okay, I got to go to school for 4 years. Then I go to school 3 years. We want a medical doctor, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, pending. So what I had to do with a lot of us, especially in any kind of healthcare field, is really like, you really got to educate yourself, on those topics as far as math and science. And honestly, I was pretty good at it. And I just kind of just studied. I can tell you one thing. I'm not the smartest, but I work hard, So far as it's one of the things that physical therapy, it's just approximately like 4% Black, and probably don't tell them how many Black males in the field, what have you. But I think that a lot of times that, especially when kids ask me, I want to become a physical therapist, and then I talk to them about, hey, you need to get these basic classes. You need to do good in science and mathematics. And then it's like, I can't do that. Then they want to go to another major or what have you. A lot of people just want the easy route. But I know, like, far as Alabama State had at one point, just kind of a program where you can, you take these courses and you have entry, get a acceptance into the PT program. So, but to answer your question, all in all, it's, we can do anything, but we just not exposed to it, I think, and don't understand the work. Why we don't like science and mathematics, I have no idea. But it depends on each individual.
I agree with you. Exposure has a lot to do with it. I mean, growing up, math has always been my favorite subject. In fact, trigonometry was mine. And I went into the social sciences because I did not know what fields I could be in being a math major. I thought all I could do was be a math teacher when there was so much more that I could do. And that has to do with exposure, to your point. And you talked about the importance of teachers. Any teachers you want to call out their names? I always
Oh,
want to acknowledge the teachers.
teachers are, the most valuable. They create careers, you
Mhm.
know. I mean, as far as from high school to college, it's always an individual as far as teacher that always kind of took you by the hand, guided you, spoke words of wisdom to you, directed you in the path, pushed you in this direction. Without people like that, I wouldn't be here talking. I mean, there's Dr. Witt, there's Miss OKK, there's uh Mr. Rose, there's Miss Beverly Cheerders, there's, I can go on and on and on. Not only just, black teachers, white teachers, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I'm blessed to have those influences in my life.
That's it. I always want us to acknowledge the teachers and call out their names when we can. I've had influences. Miss Bobby Nuss, my third grade teacher, as you stated, doesn't necessarily have to be a black teacher. That teacher is the one who got Miss Bobby Nuss, is the one who got me into math and
Right.
being able to excel in math. My mentor, Dr. Alma Renee Williams at Clark Atlanta University. And then I had Dr. David Montejano and Dr. Ricardo Romo in graduate school, along with Dr. Antonia Castañeda and many others. To
Mhm.
your point, throughout school, Dr. Marcellus Barksdale, it's so many, so many. Alton Hornsby, and those teachers, like you said, are the ones, teachers and professors, who can take you by the hand and really guide you into your
Correct,
career.
correct.
So let's talk about physical therapy. What do you do as a physical therapist? And I know you stated the different work that you started off with your grandfather, and now you're a professional physical therapist. What is it that you do as a physical therapist?
So as physical therapists, we evaluate and diagnose patients with healthcare conditions, that limit them as far as functional mobility, as far as we're experts in mobility, as far as walking and standing, So we evaluate the patient, we give them as far as prescription. The prescription is what exercise. And so we facilitate their overall function, promote human performance, support surgical outcomes and things of that nature. So for the past 14 years, I've been working, first job out of school, still there. Um, I work at this facility here in Birmingham, which serves indigent population, which don't have insurance, which is a low social economic population that don't have that lack transportation, that lack far as the resources they need to be able to, to have a healthy lifestyle, not only just physical but mental. So those different variables, things of that nature that you see individuals. Majority of them are people of color, you know. So you see all types of health disparities type things. So it's a reality check each and every day, but it's rewarding. I love my job. I feel like God breathes in me. I'm supposed to be there. It's not a job, it's enjoyment. I enjoy I love what I do. Just to, be able to use my skills that I've learned, but but be able to, when they leave, to smile, say thank you. That's the best feeling.
So you talk about serving indigent populations. How do they get access to your services if they don't have health insurance?
So Jefferson County here in Birmingham, Jefferson County overall, gets far as it's a grant. And so you just go to the specific location, the clinic. Everybody knows the name of clinic in Birmingham, and you apply for a card, and you're able to get primary care. You got special clinics, to just overall wellness. Some of the sad stories that I want to share that I see daily are, just, people wait. Um, One, they wait to 2, 3, 4 weeks. They may have a broken hip or something like that, but they can't afford to get transportation. Some people, their blood sugar sky high, rocket, and they just can't afford their medicine. A lot of times, some people just don't know about their resources. People, it's different situations where they'd rather have food on their plate. I mean, food on their plate as compared to taking care of their health, taking care of their family prior before they have seen so many, sitters or CNAs or just people that that take care of their parents have so much stress and burden on their lives. And recently, I was a guy got shot in the neck. Luckily, it fractures his spine or what have you. It's just those things that you look at life totally different. It's kind of like a realization, like, why am I complaining? What's going on in front of me. So just to be able to listen, be able to just talk about things, educate, not only on physical therapy, our purpose, our reason for here, but as well as to inspire, and encourage them. Hey, go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. Okay, write things down. You may have like 10 minutes in there, with your primary, 15 minutes. Write down a few things. What say, doctor, this was going on. If you aren't able to articulate it, well, take somebody with you. So it's just those small things. We're not, as well as just not knowledgeable about what, okay, I can ask them, like, do you have hypertension? No, I got high blood pressure, which is the same. You know what I mean? You got high sugar, stuff like that. So it's words, it's definitely communication, because everybody's different. Everybody's different. My personality have to change from patient to patient. I might see 10 to 12, 15 patients a day or something like that. And each patient is totally different. So being able to understand, who's in front of you, being compassionate, have empathy, being able to educate, a lot of times that I think a lot of times that they don't have anybody to talk to. I have so many patients that I know I'm on a rant right now.
No, please, please.
But a lot of our patients don't have anybody at home to talk to. I can like say, hey, how you doing, Mr. Joe? I'm thinking he's gonna tell me about his knee or his back. Man, my son acting up. I'm telling you, I gotta go to school, blah, 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 or my daughter, this and that. My mom's been worrying me about this and that. You know what I mean? I lost my job, I don't know what to do. So it's just those things that make you there to be able to be. We're not just healthcare providers, but I think Aristotle was talking about how you don't want to heal the body, but as well as the mind. So it's just those things that in every day that in a population environment that I work in, that's what I see. So just giving you a vivid picture of my daily kind of routine.
Yeah, and when you look at health disparities, as you stated, many of them fall in the dis disenfranchised, marginalized communities. A lot of times it's communities of color, and we recognize why it's so important to deal with our whole healthcare industry in making sure that all people have access to good health care. And here you are serving this population, but serving it with passion, like you said, passion, empathy, and also educating them on how to articulate their health concerns when they do have the opportunity to go to the doctor. So, what advice would you give people who are listening in terms of helping others who necessarily don't have health insurance and cannot afford a doctor? What would you encourage them to do and advise their loved ones and friends to do when they have health concerns?
I think one thing is like that there are resources. There are local resources. There are, health department. local hospitals. You know, I mean, there are resources where you that the institution will help you. You know, I think it's our responsibility. We have to take initiative to educate ourselves. I think that, of course, you know, a lot of people I've seen just don't want to go to the doctor. You know, their foot can be, they toe can be infected or whatever. Don't want to go. You know, I can understand as far as the Tuskegee experiment, things of that nature there, but we have to really take initiative to educate ourselves. We have to take, you know, we have to step out, you know, regardless of what what history says, or what's going on in the present, and you know, find that primary care, find that clinic that will, you know, accept you for who you are. You know, of course, you know, some, I've seen it, you know, some healthcare providers treat people different. Some cannot communicate, don't understand. You know, I mean, it's that cultural competence aspect. You know,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so but I think that, one, educate yourself. Two, go out and find resources. Three, you know, get somebody in the family. Somebody knows somebody. You know, especially these resources nowadays. You know, Facebook and, you know, all these other social media outlets. You know, there's resources, you know, in your particular community. And I know my mom, she's a social worker, so I know you can reach out to a social worker. You know, people that title will have you to kind of help assist. But that's off the top of my head right now.
So just to inspire, some young people who may be listening to the show, you're African American male, and I'm sure you've hit many roadblocks in trying to keep you from living out your destiny and becoming a doctor. What type of advice do you give young African American men in particular? Um, People in general, but that population in particular, what kind of advice would you give them on achieving their personal and professional goals?
Number one thing is know yourself, know your gifts, know your talents, know your skills, know yourself in and out. We all have weaknesses. All have strengths. You know, and the other thing is, don't compare.
Hmm.
I tell this with students that go into physical therapy school. I came in with a blank sheet of paper. Some people were athletic trainers, physical therapy assistants, older than me. I'm the youngest person in the class. I don't know. I didn't know anything. But at the end of the day, don't compare yourself. That's one of the key things. Don't compare yourself. You learn at your pace. You know, you ask questions. Don't be afraid. Um, but the key thing is know yourself. When you know yourself, nobody can tell you who you are.
Mhm.
You know, I think nowadays, as far as this world, as far as, you know, with social media, what's going on in news, what's going on, just overall racism, prejudice, hatred, all this stuff going on, you have to remain focused on, as far as, think your relationship with God. That's really number one thing. And when you know you would depend and rely on Him for wisdom, everything else gonna fall in line. You know, but overall, know yourself. You know what you want to do. Of course, it's gonna be, um, people gonna stereotype you. People are not gonna have you involved, but expect it. But everything's gonna work out at the end.
Great advice. Know yourself, don't compare yourself, and stay connected to your source, whatever that source may be in terms of the higher spirit. So, Dr. Turner, I'm so happy that you accepted my invitation to be on the show. I'm happy to say that I'm your first uh, person to interview you.
I know, right? You know, one of the things people always, one thing I learned is that, when you want people to talk, ask them about themselves or ask them about their family.
So I got it down then, huh?
You got it down. You got it down. You got me talking. I'm normally the quiet one.
Oh, are you? I didn't know that. So I am so happy to have you. And before we leave, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
So I have Dr. Herman Turner with us today, and I want you to give us a strategy for college success. But before you give us that strategy, can you tell my audience what school or schools did you attend? What were your major or majors? And then give us that strategy for college success.
I attended Auburn University, graduated in biomedical science, and I went to Alabama State University, graduated with my doctorate in physical therapy. The strategy is when you visit a school, you're interested in school, ask about their resources. Ask about far as what are some things that will help me far as facilitate my overall growth, far as within that specific area, that specific field. You know, we all offer far as tutorials. You know, like I said, I wasn't the smartest. You know, I went to Auburn University. Man, I walked in the classroom. There was not only Black, there was Asian, there was African, there was multicultural individuals that was so smarter than me. You know what I mean? It can be intimidating, but like I said, you have to focus in on far as you don't, no comparison, just focusing on your journey. But make sure resources are the key thing. You will never accomplish things alone. Resources. And that's how I kind of, which got me to the position I'm in right now. If it wasn't for me taking advantage of the resources, funny story, come to the story.
Yeah, go ahead.
So initially I was going to attend Xavier University in New Orleans. And then I went to Auburn for a program. And that's where I realized, like, hey, I'm in this university. Well, hey, no, not as, you know, I felt like I wasn't as smart, but I knew I could work hard. And so when I went to Auburn, they showed me the resources for, you know, this drop-in center, this program where I can go. And well, okay, I need help with chemistry. I need help with this calculus. I need help with this, you know. And so I use those resources because a lot of us, you know, we come from different schools, different education backgrounds, you know, knowledge different, how we learn different. So I took advantage of those resources. That was one of the reasons why I went to Auburn, not Xavier, you know, but that's how I succeeded.
So that's great advice, that when you visit a school of your choice, one of your schools that you might attend, ask about their resources, because every school has different resources. And you want to make sure you attend a school that can help you evolve into the profession you want to be in. That's good advice. So thank you, Dr. Herman Turner, for joining us today on the Empowerment Zone. It's been great having you.
I know. I wish this would continue on. I'm gonna have to come back one day.
Yes, please come back. You come back anytime. It doesn't have to be a couple of years. You got plenty you can talk about.
Yeah, you know that.
Thanks. Great having you.
Thank you so very much. Take care.
A special thank you to the incredible team of the Empowerment Zone. Terry Gully, theme song. NADWorks, digital support, and of course, our featured guest.
If you enjoyed my podcast, please subscribe. We are on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Be sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts too. Thank you for your continued support.